Ahmad Hardy, Beau Pribula, and the Missouri Tigers head into Jordan-Hare Stadium to face Jackson Arnold, Cam Coleman, and the Auburn Tigers. This is a big SEC showdown. It still is. Auburn has the opportunity to play spoiler, to bounce back after what has been such a rough stretch for them. Man, the Oklahoma loss, the A&M loss tight, and then Georgia. This is a team that was outplaying the Georgia Bulldogs so badly, it almost felt like, what are we watching? Is this an NFL team just going up against JV high school? They had dominated the yards. Defensively, they did a great job of limiting Gunnar Stockton. It was 3rd and goal from the 1. He got in. He scored a touchdown. Let's just be honest. He scored. Arnold put the ball over before the contact happened. Georgia gets the ball. All right. It's at the 1-yard line. They just can't limit the offense. They go down and they end up getting 3 points in the most absurd 2 minutes you'll ever see. It was 35 minutes for the last 2 minutes of regulation time in the first half. Unbelievable. And then Georgia just went back to the tool shed and said, hey, we're going to run the football. We're going to rely on our weapons. If you were Auburn and they told you you're only going to give up 290 offensive yards to Georgia, are you going to take that? You'd be like, yeah, I'd take that. Or if you were, let's talk about the offensive line saying you're only going to give up 1 sack. Are you going to take that against Georgia? You do need to read between the lines and look at how the Georgia Bulldogs have not even been a top 10 unit in college football, a team that has been a unit. To now talk about Missouri, because I just frankly can't talk about Auburn. That loss was so frustrating to watch. So many opportunities, and they didn't have any fight. They didn't have any bite to this team to get back in the soul. They have a chance now against Mizzou. That's what football is about. It's going through adversity and bouncing back. This Missouri front is the best defensive line in the Southeast Conference. Are you kidding me? Damon Wilson, Zion Young. I mean, you might as well just draft these guys right now. What a performance against Alabama, giving the nation a chance to look at their athletic profiles. 2 guys that stack up with the best of them as athletic freaks off of the edge. Some of them were unblocked, sure. Like, Alabama's got to do a better job. Even a guy like Caden Proctor's got to do a better job. But also for Missouri, like, what are we doing, Zion Young? It's going to be 3rd and 15. You're up 7-0. And then you have the penalty. And then Alabama goes down the field and ties the game 7-7. They wound up being up, 17-7. They went on a little bit of a run there. And it took a little bit of the air out of the building. They had a chance to have an unbelievable start. Here we go. Then there's the unsportsmanlike penalty on Zion Young, and it backs him up. Look, they're going to have a tough time dealing with Cam Coleman and Eric Singleton. This is still a duo that I think is one of the best in the Southeast Conference. They are unbelievable. You just throw it up to the freak Cam Coleman, number 8, and good things are going to happen for Auburn. That's why Missouri needs to rely on their pass rush and even sending another guy, another linebacker to get heat on him, because it's just too tough to be able to say, hey, Cam Coleman, one-on-one. Because if this guy in Jackson Arnold just has 2.3 seconds, that's enough time for Cam Coleman to get open down the field. And what I mean by open is to be just running down the field and there's a guy on him, even in phase. He's still open. He's open just about anywhere. It doesn't matter who's covering him at this level of college football. He's just about going to come down with 50-50 catches like 80% of the time. He is just that good. Now, Eric Singleton has been one of the most underutilized players in college football. You feel for this guy in a sense because he left Georgia Tech to go to a school in Auburn and get paid well. And Georgia Tech looks like they're on a collision course with Miami and getting to the ACC championship game. And Auburn, a program that's on the rise with this phenom and bringing in Jackson Arnold and Cam Coleman there. So Cam Coleman's going to open up him to have more opportunities to have one-on-ones. And it's just the connection hasn't been there all season for Arnold to connect with Eric Singleton and really get him going. This guy might legitimately be the best slot wide receiver in college football. Everyone's talking about Malachi Toney right now. Unbelievable. The kid's 17 years old. The track speed, it's incredible. But Eric Singleton is a difference maker. It's going to be why he'll probably be a day 2 pick, once he declares for the draft when that day comes. He just hasn't had that connection coming with Jackson Arnold. If I'm Missouri, I am bringing the house and I am testing this Auburn front. This is not going to be Georgia, who only is able to muster one sack. I am very concerned about Auburn and their ability to protect Jackson Arnold the same way that they struggled against Oklahoma. I would almost argue that this front is better. They're just a little bit more athletic at the edge position than what Oklahoma is. They've got a lot of rotational bodies, whereas Missouri, they have straight star talent. Like these guys are just flat out ballers. Now the run game, haven't really fully dived into that because Beau Pribula, very mobile quarterback, and Jackson Arnold, of course, that's how they came out the season. 13 carries for 55 yards. He ran the ball well against Georgia. They just couldn't get anyone going with a pop play, a play with Jeremiah Cobb, where he just bam pops the hole, able to take the top off of it. 36-yard gain. There just wasn't any of that available against Georgia. Georgia did a pretty good job keeping that on after that just onslaught. The way that it looked in like the first, I call it onslaught, the 10 points, but it felt like that. It was about to be 17, and then just the entire game flipped on its head. Missouri, though, their run game, this thing goes through Ahmad. This guy is incredible. He had another really solid day. It was a very tough front against Alabama. 12 carries for 52 yards. To be honest, I thought they would lean on him a little bit more, but again, the way that the game was positioned, it was for them to need to throw the ball a little bit more in order to get back into that game and really have a shot. They were great defending the run. Alabama, kudos to them, was committed to running the football, but they were under 3 yards a carry. That does not also bode well for Auburn in this game. Missouri comes into this one with a lot of energy. This is a team better than anyone's given them credit for. And then Jamal Roberts on the ground, 5 carries for 50 yards on the day. They did a great job. And Missouri, we saw Norfleet explosive on the first possession, and then not really a whole lot more of him the rest of the day. The passing attack for Missouri wasn't what it's looked like the rest of the season in yards downfield. They did a decent job as a defense, Missouri did, against Alabama's passing attack. Ty Simpson was incredibly efficient. Yes, he was over 70% completion on the day, but that's just not sort of the makeup of what Jackson Arnold has been in being an accurate and high completion percentage guy and them trying to take shots. It's just been herky-jerky a little bit for Hugh Freeze. I want to see them be a little bit more methodical about the shots that they do take, really getting Singleton open in the slot to then open up Cam Coleman with the one-on-ones to the outside. I just don't frankly get how you don't give this guy 12 targets a game. Did a better job of targeting him more, but doing it more so often in a complementary style with your great slot wide receiver in Eric Singleton. This is a Missouri team that I have a lot of faith in for this game, but also Auburn, it's hard to say them not at home. This is a good football team in Auburn, legitimately. All 3 of those games, absolutely, you could have seen them coming away with the win. A defense that has played well. 16 to A&M and Mario Craver and Casey Concepcion, right? That is insane. Oklahoma and the way that they looked early on, being right there in that game. And then Georgia with what we have seen their capabilities of what they can do in letting them score. So for a prediction for this one, I'm going to say Missouri wins it 26-24, that they get this win on the road. I really wanted to go with Auburn. It's just sometimes there's a little bit of a cold that you catch, some sickness. When you start losing, it's like hard to believe that you can win these tight games. Missouri had the experience of winning earlier in the season. I had Auburn originally, but I'm going to have to go with Missouri just because of what they had. They looked good against Alabama, fought them tooth and nail to the very end, and they battled, unlike what we saw from Auburn. Unfortunately, that team just did not look to bounce back at home, and they just almost let it go for them, get away from them there, and not fighting and doing anything as an offense. I was disappointed in that effort in the second half. Look, this Auburn group, they do a great job, these wide receivers, of getting back to the football. You ask me, why is Cam Coleman good? Or why is Singleton good just besides innate one-on-one 50-50 ability? It's because when the ball's thrown, they do a great job of helping their quarterback helping wide receivers that attack, that come back to the football. It's like, if you ever played catch with someone, it's like, Am I throwing bad? It's because the ball's coming and then they're just like letting the ball drop instead of just like moving forward and catching it here. The ball like drops low and it's like by people's knees or ankles, and you're like, what the heck? Like I hate throw and catch with somebody that does that over 20 yards. They just like let the ball drop when it's like here and catch it, and you're making all my passes look bad by catching the ball low instead of being uh, an athlete and actually catching the ball with your hands. Well, these are athletes for Auburn. These guys do a great job at that. I got Missouri with the win. Let me know down below in the comments whether you agree, disagree. I'm sure that there's a lot of opinions out there for Auburn. I feel for you. Missouri does not really feel for you. They are a team that really wants to come out with a bounce back win. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this Blitz with Blender video, I am Josh Blender. I hope you enjoyed it and that you stay tuned and come back for more in the future, and that you subscribe for more Blitz with Blender content as we get set towards the second half of the college football season. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.